Hey kiddos, today in Algebra 1 we're going to be talking about domain and range. That's a topic that's really been throwing us under the bus lately. So hopefully today we'll be able to master it, or at least come as close to mastery as we can. So what is domain? Well, domain are all the x values, okay? So they're all the x values that you have. And like zeros had x-intercepts and they had roots, they had solutions, domain has some synonyms as well. Domain is the same thing as x values. It's the same thing as input, what you input into an equation or a function, and it's also an independent variable. Okay? Range also has synonyms. It's the opposite. So instead of x, it's the y values, okay? It's your output, or it's the dependent variable. So if they're asking for any of that, they're asking for your range. So there's not enough room, but that says variable. So there's an acronym that you can kind of remember this all by. I'm going to write it up here on the top. Dixie, domain, input, x values, independent, Royd, range, output, y values, dependent variable. Okay, so when you're looking at coordinate points, it wants to know, are the following functions, are they domain, what's the domain and what's the range? So right off the bat, the domain are all your x values. So remember, coordinates are written as x, y. So it's all the first numbers in your little parentheses. So 1, 3, 6, 15, and 21. Okay? Your range is going to be the y values, or these second objects. 0, 9, 11, 21, 39. Now, when it comes time to determine whether it's a function or not, if the x's repeat themselves, it's not a function. But this is 1, 3, 6, 15, 21, so yes, it is a function. Okay. Now, looking at number 2, all the domain would be, domain is 0, 9, 14. You have a 0 again and a 3. Okay. So 2 zeros, I don't have to write it twice. 0, 3, 9, 14. Because I have 2 zeros, no, it's not a function. Okay, remember, I can only have the number repeat itself, not one time. Okay, and so the range would be all the seconds, so 1, 15, 23, 16, 12. And that can repeat itself, and it can still be a function. Okay? 3 and 4 I want you to work on your own. So, from a table, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Tables are just fancy ways of writing coordinate points. For example, for 5, this is 0, 11. That's 1, 15. The x is 2, the y is 16. So it's another way we're representing this data. 32. Okay. So is it a function? Well, 0, 1, 2, 3. So yes, it is a function. Okay. Our domain will be the entire x column. So that's 0, 1, 2, and 3. And our range will be the y column, which is 11, 15, 16, and 32. We're going to skip 1 and we're going to look at number 7. Okay, is 7 a function? There's 2 8s, but they're different types of 8. One's positive, one's negative, so we're good so far. And 2 different 1s. Now, there's straight up zeros in the y column, but that's okay. It's only x's that eliminate something from being a function if it repeats. So our domain, fix that, it's a D, is 8, negative 8, 1, and negative 1. The proper way is to put that in order, okay? Like, you know, negative 8, negative 1, 1, 8, but for purpose of time, I'm not doing that. And we only have a 0, so I just write 0, right? I'll get you started on number 8. You look at number 8's column, they're straight up 5s. The 5s repeat, so no, it's not a function, all right? You're responsible for finishing those questions. 9 and 10 equations, given either domain or range. So, in this situation, it says, what is the range of the function f of x equals 1/2 x minus 2 when the domains are, I used to say is, 2, 4, and 6. So remember, domain are your x values. That's a fancy way to put x values. So plug those in for x, and it'll give you your range. Okay, f of x can also be y equals. Okay, so 1/2 x, so 1/2 times 2 minus 2 equals 1/2 times 4 minus 2 equals 1/2 times 6 minus 2 equals. Okay, so that's 1 minus 2, so negative 1. 2 minus 2, that's 0. 3 minus 2 is 1. So negative 1, 0, and 1. That's your range when given that domain. Number 10. What's the range of the function f of x equals x minus 1 squared when the domain is negative 5, 0, and 5? We're going to do the same thing. Plug in, because that's the x value. If it said range, you would put it in for y and solve, but this says domain, so we're looking for our x's. Negative 5 minus 1 squared. Okay, 0 minus 1 squared. And then we have 5 minus 1 squared. So negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. Squared is 36. Negative 1 squared is 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 squared is 16. So you're going to have 1, 16, and 36 as your range. Let's go ahead and look at the back. These are the type of questions that start to throw people off, okay? So when you're looking at a graph and you're trying to determine whether something's a function, you want to make sure that it doesn't hit. Like if you were taking a vertical line and going straight across, the graph would hit only once. Like with the circle, it hits twice. It hits there and it hits there. That's not a function. This is a function because it only hits once. So I'm going to write function below it. Okay? Write not function below that. Okay? This passes that vertical line test, so it is a function. But now let's look for the domain and range. Okay? The domain has to do with your x value. You're going to go left to right, and you're going to see where it hits, okay? So, coming from the left side, the first number that I hit is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, negative 7, okay? And your range, your domain is bigger than negative 7, because negative 6, negative 5, negative 4, negative 3. So, it includes, because the closed dot means it includes it, okay? But your x, which is your domain, is bigger than negative 7. But it's less than or equal to, see the little signs I'm using? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? It's not 8. The shape doesn't go to 8 or 9 or 10. So it's between these two. Okay? Greater than or equal to 7, but less than negative 7, but less than or equal to positive 7. So domain is left to right. It's along the x-axis. So x-axis, you go like this. Y-axis, remember range is also y values, goes up and down. So where do we start? We start right here. The lowest point, okay, since they're both on the same line, it's the same lowest point, is negative 3. Close dot, so it includes it. But y is greater than negative 3, or equal to. It goes up. And it goes all the way up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But not past 6. It's like not 7, 8, 9, or whatnot. Okay? Let's go ahead and look at this circle. Okay? Our domain, so we're going left to right. The first number we encounter is negative 2. It includes it because it's not an open circle. But it's greater than negative 2 because negative 1, 0, all those are bigger than negative 2. And it goes up to 2. That's our last number. But not past it. So it's less than or equal to 2. For our range, up and down, y-axis, because range is y, starts at 0. And anything above 0 so far, it could include, and then it goes up to 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's less than or equal to. You don't see the shape touching the 5 line or the 6 line. Okay. Let's look at this one. Okay. Our domain. Okay. So it keeps going. There's an arrow. Because there's an arrow, that means it's going to go on and on and on and on and on. So it's all real numbers less than or equal to, and it goes up to 4, okay? So it's all real numbers less than or equal to 4, okay? Our range is the same way, goes to 0, so it's all real numbers greater than 0. Because again, this is going to keep on going and going and going and going and going. Skyrocket is going to include all these y's eventually. Because it's not like a straight line. It is going upwards. Slow as molasses, but it's going upwards. Okay? Let's look at number, I don't know, this is 14. It passes our vertical line test. It doesn't hit more than once. So it is a function. And as far as the domain, from left to right along our x-axis, the first point it hits is negative 5, closed circle, so that means it includes that, or numbers greater than negative 5. So x, or your domain, is greater than or equal to negative 5, but then over here it only goes to 3. So it's less than, because it's not 4, 5, 6, or equal to 3. Okay? Now, our range, our y-axis, goes up and down, starts at negative 2. Y is greater than or equal to, because the shape goes up. And the highest point it goes to is right here. That's the highest point, and that's a 6. It doesn't go past 6, so it's less than or equal to that 6. Okay? Now, I want you to practice number 15 on your own. Keep in mind that the circle is open. So like for we'll go ahead and do it. It is a function. The circle's open at negative 6. So it's less than x. It's open, I don't put the line underneath, and it goes to negative 1. Okay? No line underneath because it's closed. It's an open circle. For the range, it goes from negative 5 to 3. Okay. But how do you do number 16? Well, easy. Put it in your graphing calculator. Put that thing up. Clear that. I'm going to put x plus 1 squared minus 7, graph it, and because it goes all over the place, my range is all real numbers. It's going to keep going and going and going. All real numbers.